Right, okay, I'm going live. We're doing rhythm today, the Hermetic principles.
Sentience of internal, external, or virtual existence.
Hello, welcome. Thank you very much for joining in. Just starting a live, we're going to be doing a live today on Hermetic principles. So we're doing a series of 7. And today is going to be number 5, rhythm. So I'm just going to be waiting for Neven to come in. Much love. Thank you very much for joining in, everyone. Alright, we'll be getting started very shortly. Thank you, everyone that's already joined us.
Sentience of internal, external, or virtual existence.
So we're just going to invite Neven in. Hello, Paar man. How's it going?
What's up, brother?
How's it going,
Can you hear me? I'm good,
Yeah.
man. I had to get out of the house to do this.
Oh, good. Oh, we got the Miami palm trees behind you.
Right?
Lovely, man.
Yeah. How you doing?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Yeah. Brilliant,
You can
man.
hear me okay, eh?
Yeah. It's all good, man. You got
Okay,
your
good.
headphones in, so it's all good. It's a little bit blurry.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'll blur it.
Yeah, a little bit. It may be your reception.
Um,
I mean, it's not that bad, to be honest. I'm okay with
I
it.
can move. I can walk too.
Are you on Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I'm on. No, I'm on like my cell phone plan thing.
Oh, right. That's probably
Yeah.
why. Oh, lovely. Beautiful, man.
Hey. I hope you can. Yeah, as
How
long
long
as
you
you
there
can hear
for?
me okay, see me. What's that?
How long are you there for?
Probably another, hopefully 2 months. We're
Oh,
skipping the winter, you know. Skipping the
oh,
winter,
yeah.
so you know how shitty the Canadian winter is.
I don't know. I haven't been Canada, man, but I've got lots of family out there, which moved from the UK, so
Well,
Toronto
you're
and
gonna have to
Vancouver.
stop by. I'll
Yeah,
give
I
you the
will do,
grand
man. I
tour.
was thinking because I've been saying to them I'm going to come to Canada for a long time now, and
Mhm.
some quite a close family. They moved from here quite a long time ago now. So like,
Yeah, yeah.
there's a few family members. I'm just saying, okay, hello everyone. I need that weather.
Hello.
Hey Nikki, hey Sammy, how's it going? A1 Karen, much love. Thank you very much everyone for joining in.
Yeah, sorry guys if the picture is not the best.
It's okay, man.
You
It's
sure?
okay. Yeah, man, we can
Yeah.
hear you. That's the most important thing. We know it's you. You look like you.
The ball held and all, right?
It's definitely Neven, man.
Yeah. See, like the sun is shining off my bald head, so it's got to be me or the Rock. There's only
All
two
right.
choices.
So everyone, how's everyone doing? All right, let's see. Let's probably more people going to join us, but listen. Okay, so let's get on with it. So today, sorry, my chair always keeps because I'm actually on a wooden floor here when I've got wheels on my chair. So I'm always. If you find me going like this all the time, it's because I'm trying to balance my chair, man. And actually, it's what we're talking about the rhythm, man. Everything's fucking always moving, including my chair.
Yeah, that's rhythm, bro. Yeah, that's it.
Hey,
Guys,
AJ.
can you guys see my picture okay? How's the picture for the rest of you? Just say if it's okay or not okay. It's not like bad like that first footage, is it?
Good
'Cause that
evening,
was
Tim.
shit.
Yeah, no, it's okay, man. It's all good. It's all good.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
to be honest, when you're on when you're not on Wi-Fi, Instagram
Yeah.
Live, if you do a reel, it'd be okay. But when you do a live, it's
Yeah.
always
It's
a
not
little bit blurry. Yeah. I've had that
yeah.
myself. It goes up and down, but it's okay, man. It's good enough. Thanks,
Yeah,
AJ.
so,
Thank you very much.
yeah, okay, good.
So,
All right. So yeah, it seems like it's okay. Because I remember the first live, it was like everybody was saying the picture was blurry. So if they're saying it's okay, then they should
it's not
say all
that bad.
right. Okay. All right, good.
Not that bad. That was glitching like crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, just a little
that was
pixel.
okay, good.
Yeah,
I'm
hopefully
doing
the
my best
recording
here.
will be right.
Yeah, because
Right.
my it's like busy. My parents there, they're doing meetings and like they're loud, and that's why last time, as I was saying to you, but whoever saw, if I was a little out of the last one, it's because of that. I just had a lot of noise in the apartment. I couldn't focus. Doing my best here.
Yeah, man, that's it. That's what we got to do, man. We got to do our best, hey? So, seven
roll with
Hermetic
the punches.
principles, everyone. 7 Hermetic principles is what we've been doing. So, if anyone's new to the series, we've been doing a 7-part series. So, this is the 5th one. All the other 4 that we've already done. So, all is mind, number 1. Number 2, correspondence. Number 3 was vibration. Number 4, polarity, which we done last week. So, we're doing it every Wednesday, 5 p.m. UK time. It's 12 p.m. Eastern time, and next week will be cause and effect, and the final week for this series is going to be gender. So the Hermetic principles apply to everything, and me and Neven found this like common ground because I've applied them and I use them in everything that I do. Apply them to everything. They apply to everything. They even apply to breathwork and qigong. So everything, like my whole qigong and breathwork practice, all 7 Hermetic principles apply to my practice. I'm actually practicing the principles, right? So this is what people need to remember, that they apply to everything. So, when I do my qigong, the yin, the yang, the gender, the polarities, the negative, positive charge, everything is in and out, the rhythm. This is why I use music as well, because music is rhythm, but rhythm is, everything goes, well, let's go through the others again. So number 1, all is mind, the universe is mental. Number 2, as above, so below. We covered that in quite some detail. Correspondence, vibration, nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. Number 4, polarity, everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Number 4, rhythm, everything flows out and everything flows out and in and has its tides. Everything rises and falls. So these principles are from the Kybalion, but they're based upon the teachings of Thoth, Hermes Trismegistus. So these are adaptations of those teachings by the 3 initiates. Well, that's a pseudonym. I never went into some detail into who the person behind this work really is. So we won't go into that because it's on one of the other lives. But on page 21, it breaks down the rhythm of principle a little bit more, and then there's another whole section on rhythm as well. But what we do on the lives is basically just give our own spin on it. So just to expand a little bit further, everything flows out and in. This is reading from the Kybalion. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swings. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure to the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. So this is a natural law. It applies to everything in nature. And because we are nature, it applies to us. But there's one thing that separates us from the rest of nature, and that's conscious willpower. We can control things like the waves. So I'll just start this off and then Neven pass the baton, right? So basically, like the waves in the ocean, nature, right? You watch the ocean, you'll see all the Hermetic principles there. I mean, you just look at the ocean, everything's there. The polarities, right? So within the poles, the negative, positive charge, you're going to have the ups and downs, the ins and outs, right? So I actually done a post the other day about the cosmic pendulum, okay, which is always swinging, right? So the cosmic pendulum. So this is what creates the rhythm that we, so there's a cosmic pendulum, but it's all influenced by the sun, the moon, the solar system, everything. So that's the above, so below concept coming into it. So all of these principles link, okay? All is mind, so everything is the mind of God, firstly. But then we have correspondence, as above, so below. And then we have vibration, the principle, everything is in constant flux, always vibrating, always moving. And then we have the polarities, where everything has its dual, opposite, good, bad, dark, light, but cold, hot, but everything is half-truths in a sense, because that's what we covered last week. Everything is half-truths, not a real truth, because everything is also a matter of perception, and there's always a degree, a shift in a degree of how good something is, how bad something is, how hot something is, how cold something is, etc. So there's always a degree of the nature of something. So, just like temperature has a degrees, right? So hot, cold, but to what degree? So rhythm is, you watch the ocean. I always say, like, think of this as a very simple metaphor, but it's very easy to understand. Like God is the ocean. We're all waves in the ocean. So the mind of God is the whole ocean. We are a part of mind of God, and we are the waves in the ocean. You know, when we are no longer the wave, we're always a part of the ocean. But when we no longer experience ourselves as the wave, we become one with the ocean. So there's one ocean of consciousness separated into many minds, and there's one love separated into many hearts. That's the way I like to look at it. But when I look at the ocean, this is why for me it's like a dynamic meditation. I can watch the ocean, I can be at the sea, and all of this just hits home every time. So you literally look at it, you remind yourself of it every time. So everything is in a constant flux. So if you look at the waves, they're flowing left to right, right? And they have there's a peak of the wave and the trough of the wave. So everything is, you know, when we said rhythm and vibration, everything vibrates in a wave form as well. Our brain waves, energetic frequency, everything can be measured in a wave form. If you look at sound or music on software, like I'm a DJ, if I put a music track into my software, it's going to represent it in a wave form, and there's going to be peaks and there's going to be troughs, just like the waves in an ocean. You look at your brain waves, they're going to be waves. There's going to be ups and downs. The faster your brain waves move, the slower your brain waves move, defines how you feel. So, you know, this is where the beta brainwave frequency, normal waking state, comes into it. Alpha brainwave frequency, slight relaxed state. Theta brainwave frequency, which is a trance-like meditative state. And then you got delta brainwave frequency, which is like deep sleep, rapid eye movement. And you have gamma brainwave frequencies, which are high waking waveform frequencies. So you're awake, but they are high performance frequency. So basically when athletes get in the zone and they're performing at the highest, me as a trader, when I teach, when I coach, I get into gamma brainwave frequency. So that's a high performance frequency. And there's high gamma, which is, you know, which in a sense is basically what you go into when you go into enlightenment, because it's very, very fast vibrational and it's above 100 cycles per second and it just carries on. So that is the waveform frequencies in everything. Everything goes in and out. Your breath goes in and out. Your emotions go up and down. Okay, which I'll add on a little bit more. Let me pass the baton and let Neven add a little bit to it.
Yeah, I was actually just going to talk about the emotional aspect, because I think that's the one from a psychological perspective that people can really use the most. All of our emotions, our loves and hates, everything, nothing is static, nothing's fixed. And it's because of this, because of the principle of polarity, and then the principle of rhythm is what manifests within that. So everything's swinging left and right, left to right, and then it compensates. So some, like an example, let's say a really wealthy person that has, you know, all the money in the world to live any kind of life they want, they don't have the emotional capability to feel the joy that someone who doesn't have that has. So let's say somebody who's a poor person, the very little things will give them joy. And that joy, when you weigh that amount of that joy, you can compare it to like a very wealthy person's, you know, that one little instance can be compared to the wealthy person's entire day of like things that should be joyous. You know, when you put them all together, you get the same kind of peak that we're talking about. And so this is how the universe creates balance, through the principle of rhythm. And on an emotional level, this is how, you know, the people who don't have wealth, this is how they are given the ability to have the same level of enjoyment when you count up everything, their joys throughout the day, as somebody who has the wealth that they can, you know, they can basically pay for to get the joy that they want. So a little emotional on emotion there.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of like the Hermetics, the masters, okay? So the Hermetic masters, the main concept that they apply this to. So everything, you got to understand nature. We are nature. So we're going to have these ebbs and flows in terms of our emotions, okay? If we just let ourselves be like most people do, you're naturally going to have ups and downs, right? Everyone does. No one is completely up all the time. Everyone has ups and downs in their emotions, right? So it might be slight, it might be big. So the level of swings, you know, from a personal perspective, can differ massively between the swings, but every human being will have ups and downs. Okay, those that say they don't are fucking lying, because every human being does. Okay, so some days they're going to feel a bit better, some days they're going to feel a bit worse. Again, naturally, right? Okay, but you can. The great thing is, as a master, because all is mind, Hermetic principle number one, you can control. This is the most important thing. You can control it. So you can choose when you go up. You can choose when you bring your energy down, or bring your, so you can choose. You can choose. So if I don't want to go, so naturally, the Tao, the way of the universe, okay, that's the flow of the universe, the Tao, is going to take nature and everything in nature through ebbs and flows, everything. Right? So just like the waves, they're going to be constantly flowing, okay, based upon nature, that waves are going to be flowing, right? So like Bruce Lee said, be like water. Water can flow or it can crash, right? So you can flow, right? This is why I do Qigong, breath work, because what I'm doing is I'm controlling rhythm. Okay, so rhythm is a natural law. My breath is natural. I'm not, if I don't take conscious control of it, I'm breathing in, because everything goes in and out. Breath goes in and out. You can't just breathe out. You can't just breathe in, right? Energy is constantly up and down in a human being, right? Energy, sometimes people feel like they have more energy, they will feel they have low energy. Naturally, people will have more energy during the day, and naturally less energy in the evening. And that's the way it's supposed to be, really. Okay, because we want to feel tired so we can fucking go to sleep, right? So we need to go to sleep. So you don't want a lot of energy in the evening, okay? Now, sometimes I used to find myself having energy at times I didn't want the energy, right? Especially when you're Kundalini awakened, you have a lot of fucking energy, right? So when you have a lot of energy, the key thing to do with that energy is to master it. Because if you don't, it's going to be pulling you left, right, and center. And sometimes it can feel very uncontrollable if you don't control it. It can feel like you're not in control if you don't control it. Okay, because the energy shifts can be extreme. They can be extreme. Your downs can be real down and your ups can be real up. Okay, some people have this, obviously, they get labels, and me and Neven don't agree with these labels, right? I myself have, bipolar, emotionally unstable. We don't, these are just labels, man. The human beings go through ups and downs. But if you go to your doctor and say, okay, sometimes I'm feeling down, sometimes I feel great, they're going to give you a label. Actually, every fucking human being does, right? But they're going to give you a label and they're going to give you drugs, okay? I've been there, right? So, yeah,
I would say also, to add to that, so really mastering the principle of rhythm within your body really is the big challenge for every single person, because we have these emotions which are constantly up and down. You feel positive one moment, next moment you feel negative, and then learning to rise above that, which is called rising on the planes. It's literally you rising to a higher plane of consciousness where this principle of rhythm manifests, which is on the lower astral plane, right, on the water element, because that's your emotions. So the idea is to rise higher onto the higher mental plane, not the lower mental, because that would be the air element. So the thoughts, because it manifests in thoughts as well. But the one place where it doesn't manifest is the willpower. So when you use your willpower to rise to a higher plane, you're literally rising to the higher mental plane, which then connects to the spiritual plane, allowing yourself to get into that state of transcendence. So you're transcending your emotions. And big part of any kind of mastery of self really deals with learning how to wield your willpower, because your willpower is like a tuning fork. It's a tool that we use where we can rise higher to a higher plane, and then we can become masters of our destinies. And that's essentially what true becoming a magus, or becoming a master of your destiny, is really all about, is learning to use your willpower. Because people that are within the principle of rhythm, that are allowing themselves to swing left and right emotionally, these people don't exhibit a lot of mastery over their life. And so their decision making actually ends up, they make decisions with their emotions. And then these can be these are not fruitful decisions that are going to yield the best outcomes. The best outcomes are going to be yielded by decisions made by the willpower, when it uses the logic and reason which is something that was given to us by the gods, not God, the gods. And so, you know, this is how people achieve real mastery, is learning how to use that, the willpower.
Yeah, so willpower, I mean, that's what it all comes down to. That's us taking control. So you, as I said, your mind, your thoughts are going to be there, man. Like, so this idea of having no thoughts, it's nonsense. You're always going to have fucking thoughts, whether they're conscious or unconscious. There's always, in the depth of your unconscious mind, if you delve into the depth of your unconscious mind processes 4.3 to 20 million bits of information per second. There's going to be fucking thoughts there, right? You can't stop 4.3 million bits to 20 million bits of information per second, right? Yeah. So what you can do is quieten the mind. Yes, there's noise. You can, because some people say witness and observe the thoughts. If you're just watching your thoughts all the time, that's where your attention is. Take your attention away from the thoughts, right? Take your attention. This is why I personally bring my attention to the heart consciousness. Heart consciousness is a key. Get out of your head, get into your heart. Get out of your head, get into your heart. Because when you get out of your head, you sort of detach from, especially the mental swings. But it's the mind that leads the emotions anyway. A lot of your emotions are going to be felt because of the way you're thinking. And a lot of the thinking is going to be unconscious because it's habitual programming. So we practice the way we think, we practice it, and the more we reinforce it, the more it happens automatically. So we can change that. We are the ones that change it, but it takes willpower to change it. Yes. And it takes constant effort to change it initially. Okay, but then you rewrite your programs, and you basically, that becomes your new way of thinking, your new way of being.
And also, you know, once it's like you're doing this is like training a muscle, like any muscle. At first, it's very difficult because the emotions are very powerful. Most people kind of experience this in their 20s, you know, they're still making decisions with their emotions. And then it's kind of in your early 30s, especially when it comes to relationships, you know, people make these, they're always following their emotions, thinking, oh, you know, you should always follow your heart. Yeah, that's true. But are you really following your heart, or are you following what the ego wants? And that's something that's very common in relationships. Most people's relationships in their 20s don't work out. They're usually very, very chaotic. It's because they make all of their decisions based on their heart, you know, and then you kind of, as you go through that process, you kind of remove these emotions out of yourself. You know, you sacrifice them on the altar of righteousness, as I say. And in your early 30s, when you start making decisions with the willpower and rising above the emotions and, you know, neutralizing this pendulum of rhythm, then people start using logic and reason, and then they start making more fruitful decisions for their lives, or choosing partners that can not only give them the love they want, but also partners that are stable. You know, it's like a super common thing, people getting into relationships with unstable people because they're recognizing that instability within them that they need to heal. And, you know, this was kind of like what the twin flames thing is about. Don't worry, I won't get into it.
Not the fucking twin flames again.
It always comes out. But
I never want to hear
anyways,
that again. We're the twin flames, man. You're my
that's
twin
it,
flame,
man.
right?
I know, you too, bro. I love you. But I think that's like a really practical application for people to kind of understand that, you know, it's all about training your willpower, folks. That really is the most important thing. Like, your emotions are lying to you. This is really important. You know, they'll tell you one thing one day and the next thing next day. But then when you look at your life, you're like, wait a second, why is my life so much in shambles? Why is this thing that I followed my heart, you know, all of a sudden, like, it brought me all this chaos? And it's because you always have to apply a strong dose of logic and reason, you know, and that means using your willpower to be like, nah, you know, this feels good, but this isn't necessarily for me. Like, because if I use logic and reason, then I can kind of understand that, okay, you can predict outcomes, but with emotions, you can't predict outcomes. And I think that's kind of one of the key ingredients, because really, personal mastery is all about overcoming the principle of rhythm, because the principle of rhythm manifests between any two poles, and everything has a pole, everything has an opposite in nature, you know. And so this thing's always manifesting because this is what creates constant movement in the cosmos, right? Like you were talking about the principle of vibration. And so it's the the principle of vibration is a wave form, right? It's all these, if you could see this astral reality at that, vibrational level, everything's just waves, right? But but the willpower allows you to use your free will principle, which is God-given, which we all have, and then you willfully choose to follow logic and reason and just say, no, I deny that in my consciousness. And at first it feels like, for a while it feels like very, it's difficult because your emotions are pulling you one direction and your willpower is like, no, this isn't good for you. But when you do it for a while and then you start seeing the fruits of your labors, then all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, yeah, this really is the way to live. It's using your willpower. Yeah, don't deny yourself emotional pleasure, but ask yourself, is it coming from the ego that wants to control things and wants to, wants to have attachment in romantic relationships, or is it coming from like your soul, really? So it's about because the soul is the willpower. The willpower belongs to the soul, and the logic and reason is kind of something that the soul and the ego use, like the ego uses that very often. But the ego is all focused on pleasure. It's focused on just personal, I want to feel good. So I want this food and it feels nice, and I want sex, and I'm going to cheat on my girlfriend because this feels good. But then it's when you look at the trail of chaos that kind of behavior creates, you're like, wait a second, this is not worth it. It's just not worth doing that. And I think like that age of wisdom really comes in. I noticed for me, like in my 30s, and I noticed with a lot of people I talk to, like early 30s to mid to late 30s, it's definitely not there in your 20s. People are, especially the new generation, so focused on feeling good. Everything has to, the physical sensation. But it truly is, that is, mastering that principle of rhythm on the emotional plane. And I pass the baton, brother.
We spoke about in polarity last week, we spoke about polarizing the polarities, but with rhythm it's like neutralizing the rhythm. So this is again being centered by using willpower to remain centered. Once you get that balance, it's that yin yang balance, right? So everything's going to be flowing naturally. Okay, your emotions, your thoughts, and if you just allow yourself, I do this thing where I flow with it, but I flow with it to learn. But once I've learned, so I don't want to stay with a certain emotion too long. This is again, your mind. Mastering your mind allows you to release any emotion. Any emotion, you can release it. This is the most important thing to remember, that the emotions don't have to stay, especially if they're negative, right? They don't have to stay. You can literally feel the emotions and release the emotions. There's a technique that I teach people, which is the release technique, okay? Lester Levinson was big on this, right? I learned this over 20 years ago. But basically, a release technique is just feeling your emotions, and if they're not good, feel them and release, and let go. Because those emotions, if they're not good, they don't want to be there. You're holding on to them. They don't want to be there. You hold on to them.
Focusing on them. Yeah, it's by focusing on them, and people, what they're trying to do all the time, and it's kind of, this is the fault of the ego. It's trying to rationalize emotions and be like, well, but this thing happened, but this because of this, and then this, and you trail the cause and effect all the way down. But then you're like, wait a second, all this whole time while I'm focusing on this, trying to rationalize, I'm still feeling it because I'm keeping it in my consciousness. So it's kind of like the the metaphor of the closed, you're in a dark room, right? And you can focus on trying to get rid of that darkness, or you can literally do the opposite and just open the window and allow the light to come in. So the idea is to kind of do the opposite of the thing, and this is like Seinfeld episode 101, when George is making all these bad decisions, and then Jerry's like, well, if you're always making bad decisions, then why don't you do the opposite of what you normally do, and then that would be the right decision. So it's like a simple way of like,
right? But common sense isn't very common these days, unfortunately.
No, definitely not. No, sir.
By the way, guys, we do see the comments coming in, but what we do is just take the comments at the end, and we just have a little bit of back and forth with me and Neven, and we take the comments at the end. When I do my lives myself, and when Neven does the lives himself, we just literally we do question and answer sessions, and we just take the comment one after another. But right now, I'm not actually even seeing the comments, so don't think we're ignoring you. It's just that we're waiting. We're going to pick some out towards the end. All right, so we just want to cover the main subject firstly. Go on, Neven.
Yeah, sorry, I was gonna say, because my thing is like I can't actually hear myself talk, so I'm sorry if I'm jumping in, Cambo.
Yeah.
But I got to figure out a different method of getting the headset, or I don't know. This is a little bit of a mess, but just rolling with the punches, bro.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good. So yeah, so with rhythm, again, you know, everything is going to be in a vibration, and everything's in a constant flux. Rhythm, you know, is going to be in and out, left to right. So this is what I was saying, like with breath, like you can actually use breath to control rhythm. So you know, when I teach breath work, these are practical techniques. Like if you feel stressed, breathe slowly. If you want to get energized, breathe quickly. Like breathe more oxygen in. So, you know, if I like when I do Qigong, if I move slowly in a slower rhythm, I'm going to feel relaxed. If I move in a faster, more intense, fast-paced rhythm, I'm going to get energized. So you can literally control your state of mind and your way of being by controlling the rhythm of your breath and the rhythm of your movement. That's what I do. It's so, but it's not like trying to control the thoughts, because trying to control the thoughts directly is very difficult. For me, anyway, I find it very difficult.
Impossible, yeah.
I find it very difficult to control the thoughts directly. But what I can control is something else that is normally unconscious. Okay, so something that's normally unconscious, because it's your unconscious mind that's given you most of your thoughts and most of your feelings that you don't want. It's your unconscious. You're not consciously choosing. You don't say, I want to feel sad, I want to feel miserable, I want to feel depressed. You don't say it. You don't say, okay, and even when you feel true joy, you don't say to yourself, oh, I want to feel joy, I want to feel happy, and just feel happy. It's always like in the moment you feel it because it's a true expression. But these negative emotions, what we label as negative, they are a lot of the time they just occur. We don't even know, right? We don't even know. Why do I feel shit? Why do I feel like this? Fucking, there's nothing, maybe there may not be any problems. There may be, sometimes there's not even a logical reason why you feel the way you do. Okay, this is how emotions work. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense why you feel the way you do. Okay,
and I was going to say to that, because, you know, part of it, we're always communicating telepathically and empathically. And so, you know, you could be around somebody that's negative minded, and because that person's behavior or like their thought patterns or beliefs are shooting off these vibrational waves at you, and all of a sudden you're picking up their energy, and because you haven't healed that part of yourself, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, now I feel like shit. And like, you know, so we're constantly trying to help each other evolve. And so we have triggers, and then other people have triggers, but most of these triggers are not even being triggered like verbally. You know, that like verbalization is only like 7% of communication. The other stuff is all at that level of vibration, which is 93%, you know. So even like, you know, your body language is fully controlled by your subconscious. And most people just, you know, they're throwing off vibrations to one another without even realizing it. And this is why people say it's, you know, you are who your friends are. And if your friends are like highly developed, then they're going to raise you up, because they're going to induce you with their vibrations. But if your friends are not highly developed and all they do is talk about, you know, bullshit, then you're going to just stay at that level of frequency, you know. And so this is, you know, it's very important. But the best way, I was going to say, to neutralize the pendulum of rhythm is to learn to live in the now. Right? And you talk about that, I talk about that. That is the most essential thing. And that's what willpower allows people to do, to rise above it so you could live in the now, because there's a whole lot of potential for life in the now. But if you are being pulled left and right by your emotions, the good, even the good, right? The good, like you can have manic, like powerful emotions that are so positive, but you're manic. And then your expressions, people will look at and be like, whoa, that's coming off like bipolar, right? And like Kundalini awakened people, like I sat across the psychiatrist once, and you know, there was that word being tossed around. Like Kundalini awakened people do exhibit bipolar, schizophrenic-like tendencies, because this, what happens is when the light of the Kundalini rises into the brain, it bridges the conscious and subconscious mind, and so the pendulum of rhythm starts swinging much faster than for the average person. And and I talk about that a lot in my first book, because big challenge there is learning how to neutralize that. And the only way to really do it is to disassociate from these emotions, which are instinctual, most of them. They just happen, you know. and learning how to rise above that, and then you can gain control over your reality instead of the reality, you know, swinging you left and right and smacking you around, and you know, and then you're like, well, wait a second, why is my life shit? Well, that's why you're not controlling your emotions. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, yeah. So no, you're absolutely right. I think that even the more receptive you are to energy and like more empathetic you are, typically you will feel it more because
Oh, way more, yeah, yeah.
yeah, naturally, because empathetic people feel energy more. Like we are awake, we are more open to our own energies and other people's energies generally. If people are closed, they don't feel it as much. They're closed-minded and closed-hearted. They don't generally feel it as much as us that have open hearts and open minds because we are very receptive. So this is why I'm absolutely, I'm really, really militant with where I spend my time. That's why I have a house in the countryside. I work from home because I used to have an office in the city. And I was, you know,
Yeah.
10 years ago, I'd done that thing. I'd done that thing. Used to have an office in the city, and it used to make me miserable just seeing fucking millions of people walking around. Everyone just like, it's like that scene from the Matrix. Right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Matrix, where everyone's just plugged into this fucking Matrix, and I'm like, am I the only one? Like, fucking, that's not. Like, you know.
I like that word you used, by the way, militant. You know, that's, I love that word. That's, I look at everything the same way too. You have to become militant. You have to become like, you know, literally like, know where every moment of your day you're spending, how you're spending, and what your mindset is. You literally have to treat it like you're in, you know, building yourself up in God's army. Like,
you're topping up, man.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. No, it's, I love that word.
Your feed's gone worse, bro.
It's gone worse? Damn.
Yeah,
I'll walk around. How's that? Is it better?
Yeah. It was a bit better before, man.
Oh, it's
so I had to do this. Like I say, like I've had blessings, man. But some people might not call them blessings. Like when my father died when I was 7, when my brother died when he was 43 years old. Like these things were blessings in disguise because they caused fluctuations in me. They caused fluctuations in me, which I would have thought I couldn't handle, but because of my strong mind and the way I am, I don't let anything faze me. I was speaking to Neven earlier today. I've got 2 slip discs in my back. People will never know. I'm actually fucking disabled, right? But people will never know, right? I'm still doing Qigong. I used to do a lot more martial arts since I was 7 years old, but I didn't stop doing martial arts. I just stopped the martial arts. I had to stop doing the hard martial arts like the Krav Maga and the boxing and stuff like that. But hey, man, I still go to the gym. I still work out. I still go for a walk. Sometimes the pain is high. Sometimes it's low. When it's not high, I do more. When it's high, I do less. It's that simple. I manage it, right? I have the label emotionally unstable. I have the label depressive disorder. What did I do? I'm not fucking having that. I'm going to master my mind and prove you fucking wrong. That's what I've done, right?
Absolutely,
so that's the kind of mindset you got to have. You can't settle for that. You can't settle. That's the whole point. This is why I say I'm absolutely militant. So it's a blessing in disguise because had I not had those labels, I probably wouldn't have been so militant. But now I'm like, I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting these fucking labels. I'm not accepting your drugs. Definitely not accepting your drugs because they're fucking ruin people. And I've been there, done that. I've seen what it does to me and I've seen what it does to other people. I'm not accepting it. So what do? I have natural ways. I just do my breath work, connect with nature, do my Qigong. I stay on top of my mind. I stay on top of it because that is where it's all at. All is mind. All is mind. When you control this, you can master fucking anything.
And I was going to say, actually, you know, it's like Rocky says, success is not determined by how fast you fall. It's about how fast you get back up and try again.
Definitely.
You know, it's kind of, I love that, you know, that Any Given Sunday speech from Al Pacino, where he's talking about life is a game of inches, you know, and you have to fight for every single inch that you're going to get. And it's not going to be easy. You're going to be smacked around by life. You'll be smacked around by your relationships, by your emotions, the fluctuations in the emotions. And success and your evolution overall and how much you build your willpower is truly determined by how fast you get back up and you keep moving. It's not going to be an easy road. And this is what differentiates winners and losers. And that's all you have in life. You have winners and losers. There's no in between. And the winners always, they don't accept defeat. Like Kobe Bryant's mindset, Michael Jordan's mindset. They just don't accept. If you don't accept defeat, no matter what's happening in your life, if you don't accept defeat, you will conquer it. But it's going to be a difficult journey. But that's how you get fortitude, right? Strength of mind. And like me and you, we're all about that. We both exhibit that in our lives. And that's what all this work is people building fortitude. But that means you gotta be comfortable with feeling shitty. You have to be comfortable with the lows. You know, when you go across a doctor, you know, a psychiatrist, and he throws around these labels, bipolar, schizophrenic, whatever, you gotta just say, thank you, bye-bye, and you fight it, especially Kundalini awakened people. Like, there's nothing worse, because the Kundalini awakening process is something that's temporary in the sense of experiencing these lows in the emotions. And that's what a lot of people, they get stuck. They're like, why do I feel so shitty? I better go get some help. And then that help is never what they actually need. And they get on medication, and that's it. End of the line. If you're on medication, you're just not healing. You're just putting these issues at bay, and you're not healing these issues. And then when you get off of it, these issues are actually that much stronger. Again, you know, Seinfeld episode Kramer, when he's serenity now, and then eventually blows up and he destroys everything in his path. That's the energy that's waiting for you if you decide to take the route of just prescription medication. Again, I'm not a doctor. Cambo's not a doctor, so we're telling you guys this as friends.
Yeah. I'm not a doctor, but I've been through it. What I talk from experience.
Same.
Someone that's had labels, someone that's had the drugs. I've had the mood stabilizers. I've had the antidepressants. I've seen what it does to me. I've seen what it's done to my friends. I know what it's like, and I've seen what it's like without it and what you can do naturally. So I talk from experience. Doctors ain't going to talk from experience. They're going to talk from fucking drug dealer perspective. They're drug dealers. Right? There's no different than going to a dealer to buy some weed or buy some cocaine. Okay?
Yeah.
That's it. It's 100%. Just that these drug dealers will never stop selling you the drug, and they will keep upping the dose, whether you want to or not. That's the difference.
There's that part too. Yeah, the upping of the dose. You know, you get a mild dose, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's not working. Well, we better up your dose. Oh, no, okay, well, let's switch your medication. And then that's your life. You turn into a vegetable that's being treated constantly by medications, and all these issues that you have, mental issues, emotional, they're just growing inside your subconscious, growing. The only thing that's happening is the synapses from your subconscious to the conscious parts of the brain, they're not firing off, so you're not experiencing it, but that doesn't mean it's not inside you. And that's why a lot of people that are on these medications, they have horrible dreams, right? Because they're literally having to face these demons at night. They have nightmares all the time. Another thing, you know, it just came to me now. You know, and so, again, folks, we're not doctors, but if you were Kundalini awakened, this definitely not the way to go. And if you're not,
I've said it before. Like, if you have I've done many lives about this subject before, and I always say to people, like, if you're in a fucking real bad manic episode or something like that, you might need something to settle you down. You might do. But what you got to be careful with is when these fuckers keep you on them. Like, it's okay to get you settled, right? But once you're settled, you always need to taper off these things, right? But there is a time and place for intervention, for example. Some people can go fucking crazy, and there's time for intervention. Absolutely, right? So
I would argue. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Go, brother. I was going to say, I would argue that in those instances, let's say, you know, people should be maybe in those instances, you know, try smoking a joint first. Try smoking a sativa joint first. Yeah, right? Try the natural ways, and then truly, if like you're so desperate and then okay, you know, like, try it, but no, don't get fucking hooked on it, because usually people will, like, they try a nice sativa that will alleviate these psychological effects 100%, and you know, it has for me, it has for many other people.
Neven, most of these people that end up in a real bad way, they're usually taking drugs or drinking alcohol anyway.
That's a good point.
It's not usually their mental state and their emotions doing it. It's usually the other shit that they're taking. Because seriously, it is. It's I've seen it so many times. It's people. It's what takes you like, if you wasn't smoking, like fucking the weed is okay to some extent, but if you're smoking too much every day, you can get too high. You can smoke too much. There's always too much of something. You can do too much cocaine. You can drink too much alcohol, right? You can, right? And these people that tend to go through these phases where they get addicted, like when there's an addiction and a mental episode like that, and you're fueling it more with drugs and alcohol, for example, then it can be a situation where, you know, intervention.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. I would say, like, you know, like weed is, you know, and like, let's say certain psychedelics, people will say releases trauma, and like that's cool. But anything in life, absolutely balance and just using something that you need, and always trying to turn towards the natural way always is the key. It's the only way to truly grow yourself spiritually. Otherwise, you can develop an addiction like that. You know?
Yeah, and psychedelics, I mean, these plant medicines, they're medicine, right? Even weed, THC. I use CBD still because of my pain, right? CBD, but I don't use THC. I avoid the THC because that's a psychoactive component.
That's the psychoactive, yes.
So I use CBD because it does provide pain relief. It's anti-anxiety. Actually, too much THC is actually more of a depressant because you become reliant on it. If you don't have it, you'll be depressed. So you know, I was just gonna say, like, that Rocky metaphor is spot on, because that's what I feel like. It's like Rocky, man. I feel like fucking Rocky. I mean, maybe it's me as a martial artist mindset. I just will never give in. I just never will fucking give in, no matter what it is. I will never give in to whatever it is, right? And even my wife has said to me, she said this to me so many times. She goes, "I've known you for over 20 years. I know the kind of person you are. It doesn't matter what you go through. You will always overcome it," because she's seen me. She's seen me. She goes, "No matter what you go through, you will always overcome it, because I have seen you for the last 20 years that I've known you. You don't give in to nothing, right?" And that's the problem.
You just have to deny it.
Like Rocky, he don't just win in the first round. When he has fights, these are metaphors, man. Like, he gets the shit beaten out of him usually before
by Mr. T.
Right?
Or Ivan Drago,
Yeah, he gets the shit beaten out of him before he got. And I mean, Ivan Drago usually loses, right, first, and then he comes back.
And then he comes back.
That's the hero's journey, man. Yeah, it's the hero's journey. It's the metaphor.
That's the hero's
I put this post up the other day. God will not look over you for medals, degrees, or diplomas, but for your scars.
I was talking about that yesterday to somebody, saying that people who have experienced pain, a lot of pain, the more pain, they actually have had opportunities for growth way more than the person who's never experienced pain. And that, again, is also, you know, the pendulum of rhythm, right? Because the more that this thing is swinging inside of your emotions, which is how you experience the pain, the more these are opportunities for growth, so you can develop the mental fortitude to rise above it. And then, you know, you can crush life, basically, by doing that.
Everything subsides because everything moves. Nothing stays. That's the great thing about it. You will never, whatever you feel, however you're thinking, however you feel, it's always going to subside, right? I've had some real dark times, real deep depression, man. I've had suicidal thoughts and everything, right? So I know what it's like to be down there, but I know how to get out of it too. But the most important thing is be fucking militant on top of your mental state, because you are in control. You are in control. It's this illusion that you're not. The illusion is that you're not in control and it's just happening to you. It's not happening to you, and we're going to talk about this next time, cause and effect, right? There is natural ebbs and flows, and it can feel like, and I fucking hate this. I have to say this. I fucking hate this when people on Instagram always saying this shit. And the energies are like this today, and I'm feeling like this, and it's just a personal fucking thing. You feel like that. It doesn't mean like the whole fucking world is, right?
You're right. You've got to rise above it. Like, that just, it shows weakness. It shows weakness of character. It shows weakness of mind, lack of fortitude, you know. And I always like, you know, I'm a basketball guy, so I turn to Michael Jordan. That's my guy. That's my hero. I got Jesus and Michael Jordan. That's my two idols, you know, and or Kobe Bryant, right, who actually adopted the mindset from Jordan, which is you refuse to feel that way. You refuse to lose. You know, I was on the call with Amazon. I called them 19 times. I had to call them 19 times for 2 months to get my $300 refund back. And you know, my whole family's like, I give up. It's not going to happen. I'm like, no, I refused. And the 19th time, I got my fucking refund. And that's 19 times. So you got to get back up 19 times to fucking succeed that 20th time. You know, and that's what it takes. That's how you get true victory. That's how you become a winner. That is, everything else is a loser mentality. You cannot accept defeat. You just don't accept it. You deny it. Deny it. Like it's the plague.
Never
give
up.
That's what it takes.
I mean, and we talk about Kundalini awakening and the process that follows, and me and Neven actually going to do a special on Friday about God versus Satan, because we both had experiences with the devil, demons, and Satan,
Yes.
right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and if you are not strong when you go into that, you got to
Yeah.
be fucking strong. That whole experience requires a huge amount of mental strength and resilience. Most importantly, ability to stay centered and stay balanced.
Yeah.
And where we're
And also
that,
to,
sorry.
yeah. And like, well, we'll talk about the God versus Satan on Friday, but,
Yeah.
I mean, we all have these demons, folks, right? Every single person has demons. They're parts of our brain and whatever. I don't want to get into it now because we'll save the stock for then. But this is you're learning how to master those demons. That's what everything we're talking about now. That's essentially you're learning to master those demons because the demons say, "Hey, stay down. You're good. You can't do this. Nah, give up today." No, those are demons.
Yeah, that's it.
They're demons
That's
that
it.
say that. And you got to say, no, go fuck yourself. I'm coming back up 19 times. Fuck you, Amazon. I'm getting my refund. Fuck off, Jeff Bezos. I win, bitch. Like, that's the attitude it takes, you know?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like that, you got to apply that to everything, like on every level, you know? Destroying
Yeah.
them, mastering them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the whole mind, like the all is mind. Number one, this you can't forget that all is mind, right? Everything is in the mind of God, but then from our own personal perspective, we're made in God's image, so everything is out of mind. You don't perceive anything. You can't perceive anything without the mind. And when we say the mind, we're not just talking about the brain. We're talking about your whole level of consciousness, right? So your whole consciousness, because you have body consciousness, you have heart consciousness, you have consciousness outside of the body, right? So, you know, this is how you have out-of-body experiences, right? Because consciousness can exist outside of the body. So, you know, so this is consciousness. Your mind is not, it's not just here. It's not just in your brain. The brain, I always say, is like a consciousness receiver. It's a receiver of consciousness. It's where it comes into. You know, it's like your mobile phone receives the Wi-Fi signal, but the Wi-Fi signal is like the consciousness. Your brain is like the mobile phone.
And also, you're using your body of light when you're exiting out of your body. So you guys, everybody has a body of light, and the body of light is what allows us to attune to these different planes to have the experiences within consciousness. You know, and so that includes the lower mental plane, the water element, which is your emotions, and then the higher astral plane would be that, the water element, and the air element, your thoughts, right? But your body of light, and which is through which the chakras manifest, this allows you to tune into these different chakras and then embody these different planes, and that way you can actually your consciousness is constantly, you know, there's an ebb and flow. It's an organic being, and you're controlling it with your willpower. You have free will. That's a lot of people say, oh, like everything is coded. You don't have free will. No, you have free will. That's all of this is a test of free will. And like, are you going to accept defeat, or are you going to just keep fighting till you get victory? That's the difference between, you know, being a millionaire, a billionaire, or, you know, having $10 in your bank account. Like, that is the difference. Those people don't accept defeat. And we can shit on them all we want and call them this or that, but they exhibit certain things in their lifetimes that allow them to reach those levels. And if you want to reach those levels, it's pure work, 24/7, and denying defeat. Constantly, you just refuse defeat. And that's how you rise higher, and that's how you... Because the universe rewards that. The universe wants us constantly to... The universe is looking around and saying, okay, who's a winner, who's a loser? Okay, that's a winner. Okay, I'm going to test them some more. Throw this his way, that his way. And then the winner's like, and you're like, okay, and now I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you this to keep moving. Because the universe wants to build heroes. You know, and you're either a hero or of your own journey, of your own story, or you're just like a moon of somebody else's sun. You're either your own sun or the moon of somebody else's sun. And there's no other choice. It's either you win or you lose. You know, and it's all just an accumulative thing. You're either going to be a winner all the way, or you're going to be a loser. That's it. And it's each of us has control over that. That's most people don't understand that. They think it's circumstance. It's not. We make the circumstance by refusing defeat.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, I have this thing. Actually, we're going to bring this up next week a little bit more, so I'll hold off on that one. So should we have a little look through the comments? Because I was going to talk a little bit about the watchers, but I think I'll bring that in next week.
Yeah, it's a big topic for sure. Maybe something Kundalini related, something simple, and then we'll close up shop. I know you're.
Yeah, no, I'm good, man.
Too.
It's I'm a bit better right now. So I'm okay, man. I'm okay. Once I've got the energy now, man. So I'm just like, there's no pain now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I mean, honestly, my pain is dodging this, and then I can't really hear myself. I have to find a way to optimize this so that I can, because we're trying to channel, so we got to be undisturbed by our environment.
So,
I'm really fighting myself. I'm not gonna lie, but whatever. I've gotten into a nice flow, but the beginning was it's hard to channel when you have all these distractions. It's beautiful. I mean, it's
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
I'll come here after and enjoy the boats and whatever, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, man. I get you, man. I understand, man. God created Satan a favored angel. Oh, yeah. Liz for
Was that
Cynthia.
Liz? Liz.
Yeah. What did you guess?
Well, I think I saw it. Yeah, no,
Okay.
God and Satan. We'll save it. Let's save that because I can get into what
Let's save
Satan
that
is.
for
It's not.
Friday.
Yeah, yeah.
F that. I'm getting up every time. Yes, good stuff, Joseph. All right. So I'm struggling to get Alexander the Grateful, mastering and destroying them, he says. Yes, my friend. You know all about that, my G. You know. Trying to find questions. These are just comments, really. Okay,
Yeah.
actually, look at the questions here. What do you mean they won't be there? What won't be there? That's the question. It's from Indra Anusha. What do you mean they won't be there? I'm not sure what could that refer to? What did we say?
I'm not sure. But if you want, why don't we, if people want to know, because we were talking about weed a little bit. This is always like insight on that. I'm still learning to balance my weed smoking, diagnosed with BPD, some others, but I don't like the idea of medication for them due to past
I've done
experience.
some whole lives on this subject, but
I know, right? Yeah.
You say your bit.
Maybe we'll
I'll
leave
let you
that.
say your bit. Oh,
Well, I mean, I'm gonna say about weed, like, look, I smoked a lot of weed in my life. You know, I'm from
Me
Canada.
too.
It's legal there, but I smoked, and this was my way of coping with my ups and downs and my emotions. I would smoke sativas, and it's very easy for weed to become too habitual. Like an everyday thing. It's super easy because it's right there. It's amazing. It makes everything way better.
It's a great
But
medicine. It is. Yeah.
it's a beautiful medicine, but
Yeah.
the problem is, you can absolutely not be an achiever in life. And I'm sorry, guys, Snoop Dogg and Seth
You're
Rogen are not an
100%
example.
I
You
agree.
know, you can't be an achiever because this life is all based on competition. You know, especially the North American society or over there in Europe where you are. It's all about you competing with the next person for who's going to be better at something. And that next person's probably not smoking weed. And if they are, that actually gives you an advantage if you're not smoking weed every day to rise above and crush that. So everyday smoking, if you want to be an achiever, if you want to write books, if I always had this knowledge. I had this knowledge for many years, but it took me getting off weed in 2016 fully for me to sit down and write 2 650-page books. I had the knowledge before, but there's no way I could sit down for more than like 2-3 hours and just get high and be like, ooh, I feel so good. Okay, now I'm done. And it's like, all right, yeah, but you got to do that 8 to 10 hours a day, every day for 2.5 years. So yeah, you're not going to do that when you're high. All right. And so guys, be honest with yourselves. It's not about like correcting me or Cambo and saying, no, I can do this and I still do it when I'm high. Just be honest with yourself, man. It's like, how much of an achiever are you? Do you want to be a higher achiever? Maybe you don't. Maybe you're happy being where you are. But that's okay. In that case, smoke all you want. But if you want to crush your competition in anything, if you want to, then you got to regulate that. You can't smoke every day. Like, do it once, twice a week, max. On the weekend.
Yeah.
And otherwise, crush your competition. Crush yourself. Crush, what you need to succeed. And that's my take on that.
We talk about energy and vibration. I mean, I've smoked a lot of fucking weed. I've done a lot of drugs. I've done psychedelics, DMT. I do lives on this whole subject. I mean, I just done one a few days ago on everything, psychedelics, DMT, my whole experience. And I talk about it a lot. So many of you guys already know about it. I don't do anything now. I haven't done anything for over 5 years. Okay? Because it's all fucking nonsense. Because at the end of the day, I've got to that point though. There's a time and place for everything. So it depends on where you are in your journey. You know,
Good
it
point.
depends
Good
on where
point.
you are. Like I'm nearly 45 years old. I can't carry on doing that shit forever. Okay. I've got a wife and 2 kids. Okay.
Hmm.
My wife never liked it anyway. She never liked the smell. My kids, I don't want to be smoking weed. So I've got my own reasons, right? But also at the same time, I like to be mentally clear. And I have never been clearer in mind than when I stopped everything. Okay. My mind
Absolutely.
is super
Amen.
clear, right?
Yep.
I've never
Yep.
been so clear in consciousness and my mind. And when I stopped smoking weed, especially THC, my mind went to
Yes.
a different level. Okay. So now, don't get me wrong. There was a time where um, it helped me because of what I did. I stopped alcohol and cocaine and everything else, and I only
All in
smoked
one
weed.
shot.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
smoked,
Okay.
stopped smoking cigarettes, alcohol, cocaine. Okay, alcohol, cocaine, cigarettes all stopped, and then I only smoked joints. Okay,
Mhm.
then so it was like a weaning off period where I only smoked joints, but I was never high vibrate. I couldn't get into that high energy state which I knew when I can be in. Okay, so it
Mhm.
always kept me down here, like from a consciousness scale perspective, it will be on the low end of the scale. It will never be up, right? So it
Yeah.
will never be
Yeah.
on the high end. So it
Yeah.
would be, so it's great for letting go. Like you want to let go, you want to detach, you just want to be blissful, peaceful, great for that, man. But listen,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I don't want to just be in yin. That's very much a yin state drug.
Yeah. There you go.
Yin.
That's
It's a
yeah. It
yin
puts
state
you
drug,
in the feminine state. Absolutely. Like
feminine
men turn
state.
into bitches when they smoke. Simple as that.
Exactly. Men turn into
Like
bitches when they smoke too much weed.
for
Okay? And
sure.
I'm sorry if you're a man that smokes weed, but until you stop smoking weed, you won't know how much of a man you can fucking be. Seriously.
There you go. You
Okay?
said
And
it.
I'm talking from
Amen.
experience.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. Same here. Yeah. I was never. My thing was just always weed, man. I was a weed guy my whole life, but I was an enhancement smoker. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like that
I
guy from
smoked it
Half
for over
Baked. I'm an
30 years,
enhancement
man.
smoker.
I smoked it
Yeah.
for over 30 years, so I know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. But what I would
Yeah.
say, there's 2 components to weed. There's the main, there's more others, CBG, CBA, etc. But there's the main components are CBD and THC.
THC. Yeah.
THC
Yeah.
is a psychoactive component. If you want
Yes.
to
Yeah.
smoke weed, this is what I done. I stopped
Yeah.
smoking high THC concentration weed and I moved to CBD
Yeah.
flowers, but very
Yes.
good
That's
flowers,
different. That won't
very
fuck
good
with your head.
flowers,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
good flowers with CBD in it. Then I wanted to get to the point where I didn't want to smoke anything anymore because I'm very much into breath work and I could still feel my lungs were coughing up shit. So I
Mm.
gave up smoking and what I turned to was vaping initially. Okay, so I
Mm.
was vaping CBD. So I did it slowly and then I was vaping CBD, no THC. Then what I do is I get a little extract, oil extract, okay, which you can use a dab rig for. So you still inhale it, but you're not like smoking a
Mm.
joint or smoking smoke, right? It's just a vapor. Or you can just eat it. You can eat it. Get the
Yeah.
gummies or get the oils, which you can just put some drops under your tongue. But very good quality stuff. I've got a good local source here, and his
Mm.
stuff is proper quality. So the
Mm.
CBD that I get, it makes you feel just as relaxed as any other weed. But I won't touch it during the day. I won't touch
Yeah. It
it during
doesn't
the
fuck
day.
with your head. That's
Yeah,
the
I
key.
don't touch it during the
Doesn't mess
day.
with. Yeah.
Maybe the last couple of hours, and I don't take it every day. But if my pain with my slip disc issue gets high, I might take a bit
Mm.
more. But
Yeah.
generally, I won't touch it all the time because it's medicine. It's like I don't have a headache, don't fucking take a painkiller, right?
Absolutely. Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's the way it's a medicine. This is what you got to remember. It's not if you're taking it every day, you're addicted. Sorry,
Absolutely.
you're addicted.
Anything. And
Yeah,
actually, somebody asked about tobacco, and I wanted to mention about tobacco. If you're smoking cigarettes, folks, get rid of it. There is
yeah.
zero
Nonsense.
positive
Nonsense.
value to cigarettes. Now, don't tell me, oh, well, what Indians smoke pipes, like Native Americans smoke pipes. Hey, are you a Native American like smoking a pipe? No, like, don't make excuses for yourself, folks. Like, there is zero reason to smoke cigarettes. There's zero benefit to it. It's taking away from your oxygen intake, which is literally oxygen is spirit on a lower level. Like Cambo does breath work, when you're doing pranayamas, you're literally taking in spirit energy to rejuvenate your cells, to move these prana vayus in your body, to just expand your consciousness. When you smoke cigarettes, you're taking away from all of that. Okay,
Well,
and not only
nicotine
that,
is a poison. Nicotine is a poison. I smoked cigarettes from the age
absolutely.
of 14 years old. I started smoking cigarettes when I was 14 years old. I remember when me and my friends, we used to bunk off school, we used to get
Yeah,
cigarettes,
we
we used
all,
to smoke in the
yeah.
woods, right? I stopped smoking cigarettes about 5, 6 years ago now. Again, I moved to
Yeah.
vaping, right?
Yeah,
So,
same here. I stopped the
yeah,
cigarettes
but
about that time.
but
Yeah.
I felt the difference because I actually have, apart from the slip disc, I've had a neuropathic. I used to get nerve pain all over, sharp shooting pain of nerve pain all
Oh
over my
yeah,
body.
yeah, yeah.
Didn't know what
Neuropathy.
caused
Yeah,
it. I didn't know
yeah.
what caused it, right? But I've had it for about 11 years. Okay.
Mhm.
What I didn't realize is the nicotine was causing it.
There you go, bro.
Nicotine was causing it. As soon as I stopped smoking the nicotine, it stopped.
Yeah. A lot
The
of people
doctors
don't
would never have
realize.
known. The doctors would
Yeah.
never have known because they did say, "Are you smoking cigarettes?" And they said they did advise, "Okay, stop, stop." But I didn't do it because of that. I just stopped and I realized, wait a minute, the pains are gone. Took a
Yeah.
while, but the pain stopped. So it was the poison in the nicotine that was causing it.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, another thing, folks, when you smoke cigarettes, your breath smells like shit. Nobody wants to be
Oh yeah.
around you.
Oh
Like,
man, I
simple
hate
as
the
that.
fucking smell of it now. I hate
I
it.
fucking, like, you
It
like
makes me
back
feel
in,
sick. I feel like I'm gonna
I,
if I just walk past someone having a cigarette.
I know, man, it's disgusting. Like, it's literally like you may as well take a shit in your own mouth or like eat a piece of dog shit. Like, that's what you fucking smell like. Like, it's
Yeah,
not a joke, and like, oh, I'm gonna have a gum after. Ooh, it's so wonderful. No, your breath still smells. It's like masking shit with perfume.
yeah.
You still smell like shit. So if there's not any other reason other than that, just stop smoking cigarettes. Sorry, I got to get into comedy mode a little bit.
Yeah, man. But you know what? I used to smoke cigarettes so much, man. And like when I started
Uh,
cleansing myself, I went for a cleansing period. And I was just doing lots of fasting. I even went vegan for a little while. I'm not now, okay, but I did for a little while. Just as I was going for this cleansing period, I was just eating lots of fresh fruit, organic fruits, and because I was cleansing, okay. And so I stopped everything, and I was still smoking weed a little bit then here and there. But what I realized is that when I was doing my breath work, because I do my breath work through my mouth, and when I was doing my breath work, I always used to cough shit up. And it took
yeah.
me about a year of coughing, like even after I stopped smoking cigarettes, it took me about a year to stop coughing that shit out. Like, I'd be like, like, it was like
Yeah,
that.
man.
It was like, and it's just all this black shit coming out. Like, you don't realize how much shit gets caught up in. I
Oh, for
think I
sure.
pretty much reversed all the damage that was done to my lung from smoking by doing my breath work every day. Because you can clear it all out.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
my
Yes,
lung
yes.
capacity has grown massively. Like when I do my
Oh,
breath
yeah.
retention, like when I breathe in, I can take real deep breaths and my lung
Hmm.
capacity has expanded massively. When I first started, after I stopped smoking, I've been doing breath work a long time, but I could never do breath work or feel the prana or feel the life
Yes,
force energy like I can with clean lungs, right? And
yes,
this
yes,
this this is also weed as well because you're still smoking. So when I
yes.
stopped that, it makes a massive difference to the amount of energy prana you can bring in, the life force
Hmm.
energy, and the man you feel it, you feel the difference. Like it feels so like.
It's
I would
nice.
explain it this way. It just felt very sludgy when I back
Yeah.
then. It felt very
Well,
sludgy.
speaking,
Now it feels
yeah,
vibrant when I do breath work.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say also, people don't realize that when you're smoking cigarettes, you're creating holes in your aura. You're creating actual sludges in your aura, and I talk about that in
That's what I
Serpent
call sludgy.
Rising. Yeah, exactly. That's why I was brought that to my attention. Yeah, you're creating holes. Also like too much weed, right? Drinking, any kind of addiction creates holes in your aura because there's literally demonic entities that attach themselves to you to experience
Ah,
this
good point.
activity that's bad for you, and
Yeah.
and and then they feed through you. That's what all addiction is. Porn addictions, every day smoking cigarettes, weed, alcohol, anything that's bad. There's literally demons attaching themselves to you and feeding through you because your soul does not want that. It's not a good thing. It's not for soul growth. And so, if you want angelic presences, then do things that further your soul's growth. But if you want to just like fulfill your ego desires and feel that little high that lasts for like 3 seconds before you start smelling like shit by having a cigarette, good luck. But most people were not going to want to be around you. Like, no partner wants to kiss their partner with like stanky ass cigarette breath. Like, it's fucking disgusting. You know,
I've
those
helped
days are
a lot
done.
of people. I've helped a lot of people with weed because it's a big thing, and we get it a lot, especially with people in the spiritual community. We do. It's like for some reason it goes hand in hand. Spirituality, let's smoke some weed. So for some reason it's like this hippie
Yes.
nature, right? The hippies, man. Like, you know, it's the hippie thing, right? But
Yeah.
that's what I was like. Spiritual, smoke weed, man. You gotta smoke weed to be spiritual. All fucking
Yeah.
nonsense. I had to grow up to figure this out. Right? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't be
for sure.
spiritual without fucking weed. It don't make sense. That's what I used to think, right? I used to,
A
this
lot
is
of people
the
do.
lies you
Yeah.
tell yourself. These are lies that you tell yourself. I've been there, done
Yes.
that, man. It takes some
Yeah.
time to go out of it. It really does. So, you know, like, but with weed, I was going to say this. It's important to know where you get it from. If you are smoking it,
Oh,
like if you're buying
100%.
it from the drug dealer down the road, fucking here we are, here, have some of this, and it's just putting it down, you know, like these dodgy drug dealers, like what that environment is in the fucking weed. Like these drug
Yeah.
dealers are in fucking horrible environments, right? Now, if you're gonna
Yeah.
smoke weed, get it from a fresh, grow it yourself.
Get a
That's the
brand
best.
name. Yeah, get a
Grow it
brand name.
yourself.
Don't get street weed. Yeah.
Yeah, don't get street weed. Definitely not street weed, because that is definitely going to be fueled with fucking demons, right? Definitely,
Yeah.
because it's
And
going to
it's
be
also
in there.
just, yeah, it doesn't even like do what you want it to do. If you compare like a joint that's got a brand name, like, you know, like sour diesel or something, like sativas, I always recommend. I'm sure you do too. To everybody does pretty much.
Yeah,
The Kundalini awakened people, like smoke a nice sativa with a brand name. You know, as long as it's
yeah,
got a name behind it and it's not from like some dude's pockets, you know, and he's like, yeah, man, you got to get this. It's called the shit, and you got to get the shit because I'm
yeah,
gonna take all your monies. You know, so
yeah.
don't fall for that scam, folks.
And yeah,
Go
so
to
the most
Canada,
important thing,
get some weed there.
I don't know how we're talking about Hermetic principle rhythm. If anybody joined us later today and you expected us talking about rhythm and you're just hearing about weed, we did talk about rhythm,
Well,
right?
we did.
But again, weed, I suppose, comes into it. It's, you know, it shifts your vibrational state, right? But,
Absolutely.
you
It
know,
lets you rise above your emotions, yeah.
yeah,
Indeed.
exactly. But,
So
you know,
it
when
does
we're
work.
talking about handling your emotions, right? These are tools. They can be used, but, you know, again, don't abuse anything. Don't abuse anything. There's a time and place. I would definitely recommend, I don't smoke it anymore. I always highly recommend people get off the THC, at least, the psychoactive component, because it's psychoactive, man. Your imagination works both ways. It can work in a positive manner and in a negative manner. You know,
Mhm.
you'll find your
Absolutely.
imagination will be definitely, your creativity will go up. So
Hmm.
your creativity will be heightened. Okay. But trust me, I'm a creative person. It don't fucking disappear. You can get creativity as long as you
Other
do,
ways.
you know, you can do natural things, right? I get creativity from just being around nature, doing breath work, keeping my consciousness clear. Like, your consciousness isn't really clear when you're smoking that. It's a medicine. Don't
Yeah.
take medicine all day long, every day, because then it's an addiction. An addiction is not a good thing. Where it doesn't matter what you're addicted to. Okay, it's an addiction. Okay, you could, you know, I'd say, actually, I'll phrase that the wrong way, because addiction, it depends on what you're addicted to. Because it depends on what you're addicted to. Because I actually shifted my addictions from what I call negative things, things that don't serve me, to being addicted to good things that do serve me. So I'm still an addict, but I'm addicted to breath work. I'm addicted to meditation. I'm addicted to qigong. I'm addicted to my walks in nature. I'm addicted to good shit. So get addicted to the good
For
stuff.
me, coffee.
Get addicted to what serves your higher nature. You know, that's it. Stay addicted if you want to be addicted, but addicted to the good stuff, right? But not to
Yes,
the
yes.
degree where it's like you're fucking obsessed by it, right? Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, go to the gym, have a workout, but don't be obsessed. No, obsession is never a good thing, because attachment is the root of all suffering, as they say.
Yes, yes, absolutely, yeah, yeah. Unless you're The Rock, then you're like obsessed with working out, and you're like, you have the
Yeah.
most followers on the planet, and you're The Rock.
A bodybuilder, if you're a professional bodybuilder, yeah. I mean, I still go to the gym. I've took about a week and a half off, which is probably the most I haven't been for a long time, but that's because my back's been playing up, my lower back, my spine, because I've got 2 slip discs in my lower back. So that, I still work out though. I just can't do, I done it from doing fucking weight training. My slip disc is because I used
Well,
to
yeah,
go,
there you go.
I've done it I used to go real heavy on squats and deadlifts. And the mistake I made, if anybody ever does this, please don't. I was doing intermittent fasting and I was hardly eating, so I was trying to lose weight.
Oh,
And I was
shit.
doing this program where they recommended strength training whilst fasting at the same time, right?
Yeah, that's not smart. Yeah.
I knew people that were doing it, and I done it, and I fucking broke my back because of it. I fucking literally broke my
You
back.
need the pranic energy from the food, especially
Yeah.
when you're working out. You absolutely
Yeah.
need it. Yeah. Don't work
So
out
I made a mistake.
without food in you. Yeah.
I used weed heavy in my 20s. Now in my 30s, feel much better and clearer without. Absolutely, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, for
Oh,
sure,
thank
man.
you, man. Thank you. You know, and that's what we
Yeah.
all go through this phase. You know, we're human beings. We want to, when we go like teenagers, like we're now 17, 18, 19, we're going to explore shit. We're going to explore shit, especially, you know, if we're the kind that like to, you know, go out and have fun. We typically are going to be brought in this world. We're going to explore shit. We're going to do stuff. The problem is this day and age, people are fucking with the wrong things. I know kids, 16, 17 years old, fucking with things like DMT. They shouldn't be touching DMT. I've done DMT. There's not a fucking time to be doing DMT when you're 16, 17 years old. You fucking don't touch that.
Yeah,
It's wrong.
yeah.
These kids these days are playing with fucking fire, man. They're playing with the wrong shit. Because when we was growing up, I mean, I'm nearly 45 now. Like, it was just weed, alcohol, cigarettes, ecstasy.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple. That's it.
Ecstasy. Then, you know, mushrooms came on the scene. Mushrooms a little bit more. Cocaine, big thing. You know, that's big.
Yeah.
Fucking very dangerous. That's the worst drug of all. Seriously. I've been there, done so much of it. It's the worst drug of all. Worst drug of all of them. LSD. I haven't done LSD, but I've done mushroom trips and DMT
I haven't
trips.
done LSD. Yeah. It's actually
You done
funny because
LSD?
we're talking about weed and no, I've never done LSD, but I was going to say why I came here because we're talking about weed and a dude literally came here to smoke weed, so I've just been smelling weed. I thought when somebody asks, hey, how do you define irony?
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think that's it. That was it. Yeah, that was it.
That's the test
But
for the
anyways,
demon.
brother,
Yeah, bro.
should we close up shop and
Yeah, let's call it done. We have talked about rhythm. We covered it in quite some detail. Obviously, we've been hitting the 7 Hermetic principles. So next one is going to be cause and effect. And then we're going to do gender, the last one. So this will be recorded on both of our pages. Please check it out if you missed it. So sorry if I missed any questions. There were so many comments. I couldn't actually find the fucking questions.
yeah, I know.
And the thing is, like, Instagram does this thing. I don't know if you've noticed it. You probably noticed it, Neven. When you try to scroll up, because when you got so many comments, you can't actually get to the top.
No,
like,
I know.
because the
It's
new
very
comments
annoying.
keep coming in, and it pulls the feed back down. So as you're scrolling up, it keeps putting the feed to the bottom. So I actually can't fucking find.
I
the
know.
comments
Yeah,
and
it's
questions from the
annoying.
beginning. I'm sorry, guys. It's just too many comments and questions coming in. So I'm really sorry about that. But we do question and answer sessions. I've covered loads on this topic of DMT, hallucinogenics, CBD, weed, my experiences. Because all I do is I talk about experience. I really just talk about what I've experienced. Neven does as well. Neven's had a lot of experience with his stuff, right? The magic, and Golden Dawn and his stuff. So I talk a lot about my breath work, Qigong, but I've used these things to get away from all that stuff. So I can stay high naturally. Like my breath work, you do my breath work, you will feel more high than any fucking drug if you do it properly. Seriously. If you do breath work properly,
Positive for you.
If you do life force energy work properly, you don't need any drugs. Life force energy is the best fucking drug and it's free. You can have as much of it as you want.
And it's good for you. And it's good for you. That's the most important part. Always, every time it's good for you. There's not like one time, oh, it's bad for me today. No, it's always good for you.
Always good, man.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, man. Take it easy,
Yes,
brother.
You too,
Much
man.
love, man.
I'll catch you later. Thank you, folks.
care, bro.
Thanks for tuning in. We
Much
do
love.
our own lives and stuff, so join us there. All right, peace out, everyone.
Friday, Satan versus God. We'll
We'll do Fridays. Yes. Or I don't know, Campbell, listen, if you, because, like, I don't know if this is kind of annoying with me walking around. Like, it's hard for me to focus. I don't know if we should save it instead of Friday for, like, a time when I can actually sit and be undisturbed by, like...
Yeah, you let me know when. We'll talk about it. All
right, we'll figure that out. Yeah, because I prefer when I'm, like, I can focus. And plus, I'm sure the feed is not the greatest.
So watch this space. We're going to do a reel when we're going to do it, so we will let you know.
Yes. There you go, folks. There you go. Well said. All right, brother. Peace out, everyone.
Peace. Okay. Much love, everyone.
Bye.